Hello everybody, hope you're well. Dan Tyler here again. I hope you have a lovely weekend and you're ready for the week ahead. I'm just doing a video for you guys today just to go through my process on why I've picked this currency pair, which is the New Zealand dollar Swiss franc pair. I just thought I'd go through my process on how I picked this currency and give a good overview on the New Zealand dollar weakness that we can see coming in against other currency pairs, and also the Swiss franc potential strength coming in. So just to get straight into it, I'll actually start off on my TradingView account just to give you an overview of New Zealand dollar weakness across all currency pairs, really. So we'll start, I'll just focus on the weeklies as it gives a good indication of long term where the New Zealand dollar is heading and how strong or weak it is. So we'll start off with the AUD NZD. The past 5 weeks, as we can see here, has had a very sharp buy up, a lot of momentum onto the upside. We've hit some resistance, but there hasn't really been any rejection there, and we've got a fib target going up to here. So we are expecting some further New Zealand dollar weakness against the Aussie dollar. As we go down, I can then go into the Euro New Zealand dollar, and it's a very similar picture. We can see that we've broken a key level on the weekly chart. It could be likely we could see some sort of retest, but we are going up with a lot of momentum suggesting New Zealand dollar weakness here. And we don't have any resistance in the way other than this channel resistance here, which can easily break, and also this resistance line. They are the only two bits of resistance in the way, which leaves actually quite a lot of room for movement on this currency pair as well. But it just kind of outlines that the New Zealand dollar is looking weak on both against the Aussie and also the euro. We can then take this further into the pound New Zealand dollar. Again, a very similar picture. We can see it's recently had a channel bounce, had a lot of upwards momentum, has broken a resistance level. Apologies, has broken a resistance level. We could see that slight retest and for it to continue upwards, which is what I'd certainly expect to see anyway. But we can just see that the New Zealand dollar is looking quite weak across the board at the moment. We can then take this into the New Zealand dollar CAD. Last week was a very bearish week. Again, we're going down with a lot of momentum. You have to realize that this is New Zealand dollar CAD, so as the chart is going down, it's suggesting New Zealand dollar weakness. We've broken this support level on the weekly chart, looking to go down with no support in play up until these levels, suggesting again a lot of room for movement. And also, although the currency pair isn't moving in huge waves, it's kind of ranging it in some sort of way. We're still in a descending channel, so it just kind of adds a little bit of confluence that we've definitely got some momentum going on the downside for this currency pair in particular. And then we have the New Zealand, and then we've got the NZD USD, so the major pair, which is arguably the most important one. And we can actually see here that we're at a very key level. And actually, for this week, it's one of the only majors that has kind of confirmed to me that this currency pair is looking quite weak. The New Zealand dollar is looking quite weak. All of the other majors this week seem to be in quite an uncertain picture in my eyes. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on the markets. But anyway, I digress. We on the New Zealand dollar major pair, we can see that we've hit the 200 moving average, and we've had really nice bearish confirmation that we're looking to go down. The only thing that I do have to consider is that we have had a trend line break, and we are currently retesting that trend line and also the channel line. So it could very easily still shoot back up. However, across the board, I can see New Zealand dollar weakness, and therefore that's what I'm expecting. It's a really nice candlestick formation here, suggesting that the sellers have taken control, especially when there's been a lot of momentum on the downside from the previous week. So then that leads us nicely onto the Swiss franc. The Swiss franc actually is a very similar picture in a way, but the opposite, where if we look at the major pair for USD CHF, I've done a couple of videos on this already and suggested that we could be seeing a reversal point around these levels. And the last couple of weeks we had a lovely rejection, and then we had a little bit of indecision, and I was expecting a nice bullish candle here, but actually we finished on actually a very bearish candle in my opinion. We've got a long wick to the upside and it's finished close to the lows. It's broken this channel, and I think we could see this going lower, at least for next week anyway. Which means that the Swiss franc is actually strong against the dollar, and therefore we can see it being quite strong against other currencies as well. This is kind of replica. I won't go through all of them, but across the board, you can't necessarily see Swiss franc strength on all currency pairs, as it's kind of ranging in a lot of them. So therefore, it's kind of battling against the other currencies. But we can see that the Swiss franc is quite strong against the dollar at the moment, and therefore pairing the two together of the New Zealand dollar weakness, the Swiss franc strength, putting them together, and that leads us to some quite nice momentum on the downside for New Zealand dollar Swiss franc. Again, trading is a probability game, and having this sort of confluence of picking your currency pairs, finding where the strengths and weaknesses are, and then pairing those together, we can start to see some quite big moves in the market, which is great to see. So I'll go ahead and do my NZDCHF analysis now. What we always start off doing is we always put in our channel lines. We always follow a rule-based approach, remember, so we'll put in our channel lines first. Excuse me, that's a very bad channel line, and I'll need to reformat that. We'll go from here. Always good to take a good zoom out as well just beforehand, and then we can really see where the market is reacting and see if we can get any good channels in. But I can see that we've got a relatively nice channel here actually. Just want to make it a bit more accurate for you guys. There we go, that'll do. And then we've got another one here, which is a really reactive line, acting as support very well across the last couple of years. And then I would think we've got one in the middle as well. So we can see that we're in a descending channel across NZDCHF, and the as we're in this downward trend now, shall we say, we've actually had a really nice rejection off of the 50 moving average, which is what we've seen in the past as well. So a few weeks ago, we've had that rejection off of the 50 moving average, and the past 3-4 weeks, we've seen some really nice downwards momentum going towards this channel support line. So then what we can do now, once we've found our channel, what I like to do is I just like to see if there's any support and resistance in the way. So we can use our London Trading Institute support and resistance tool, and we'll put in our weekly levels. And this just confirms that this is why I like to use this tool, because not only does it show what support and resistance is actually there, but you can interpret it as if we can see how much room for movement this currency pair has on the weekly chart. We've had a rejection off of a weekly key level, a channel line, and also the 50 moving average, and we have absolutely nothing in this area on the weekly chart to stop us from getting to this channel resistance, this channel support, and also this support line here. So it cements the fact that the New Zealand dollar is looking weak and the Swiss franc is looking relatively strong. And pairing these two together, I'm looking to take short positions all the way down to these levels here. When we go into another chart, we'll look into the daily, and then we'll just go into it in a little bit more detail and just see what's going on, get a little bit more, maybe more accuracy on our channel lines. So I'll put that in here, and then we can see what sort of wave the market is in, if we're any fib cycles or what. Let's just put the channel lines in again. Lovely. So now that we've got that channel line, what I always like to use as well is the 8 and the 21 moving averages on the daily. Just gives a good representation and a good picture of whether the trend is turning or reversing. And we can see that as the 8 moving average is below the 21, suggests that we're in a downtrend at the moment, and that I should, according to my plan, only be looking for some shorts in some cases. And then we can put in our daily levels as well, just to see if it's like the weekly and we don't really have that much stopping us from getting to these levels down here. We'll put in the daily support and resistance levels, and he solidifies it even more. It's exactly the same as the weekly. We have a lot of room for movement. All of this here is room for movement. That's all room for movement for taking short positions on this currency, which is quite good. I mean, there will be days and a couple of weeks where we will see slight pullbacks as the market does move in waves. But ultimately, as traders, we're patient. We'll look for those pullbacks and enter at better prices to short this currency. And that's what, in my opinion, I would strongly suggest at the moment. So for me at the moment, this is a really good representation of shorting this currency, and we can really actually see that potentially on the 4-hour as well. Let me just clean this up actually. So on the 4-hour, I'll put in my downtrend lines, just see what's going on there, which were already on there, but I'll show you how to put them in there. So we can see that we're definitely in a downtrend. We haven't had any inner trend line breaks at the moment. We're currently just bouncing off of this inner trend line, and we can see that we're going quite steep now, which could suggest that we can see a slight trend line break. I can't necessarily see any great channels right now. Nothing completely of note. I mean, it's arguable that the ones there. I'm not a big fan, but the thing is with channels, it's always good to spot what's reacting right now instead of what was reacting in the past. It's a bonus if it's reacting in the past and reacting right now. However, I can't really see any viable channels that I'm really interested in on the 4-hour. So that's why I went straight into just putting my trend lines in. I can see that we're in a downtrend. And we're bouncing off this inner trend line here now. So the next thing that I'll do is I'll put in my 4-hour levels just to see if we've got any support coming into play, to see if we've got any bounces or so on and so forth, that we can look for potentially any pullbacks. As we can go down to these levels down here. So we've got a lot of potential for shorting this currency. And again, we have absolutely no 4-hour resistance, 4-hour support coming into play. So with this in mind, I like to use the Fibonacci tool to show what wave the market is in, to see whether we finished the Fibonacci cycle and we could be seeing a pullback sometime soon. Just so we can then hit that de-extension and make some good profits on that. So what I'll do is I'll put in our Fibonacci tool. As we're going down and we're looking to short this currency, I'll put in the Fibonacci ABCD down tool. And we can see here we've had a really nice C pullback recently, and we're very, very close to hitting the D extension at the 1618 red level here. When we hit this level, it could go that little bit further, but as soon as we see that swing low, the D will be confirmed, and then we'll be looking for that C pullback. And that C pullback can be potentially at one of these trend lines, maybe a moving average. I like to use moving averages and the Fibonacci tool together. I find that they're quite well used as they're both trending indicators. So I always think it's quite nice to see a touch off of a moving average confluenced with a Fibonacci level. So to me, this is suggesting that we're actually getting close to a point of seeing a C pullback again, which is really nice, which means early next week or in the week coming up, we'll actually see potentially some sort of movement up for us to then get in at a better price around these sorts of levels here to then short it down to the levels we suggested earlier. Then what I also like to do is I like to just take a quick glance at the hourly. This video I was just going to focus on the bigger picture and see where the 4 hour was reacting. But on the 1 hour, if we react with the 50 move, what I found is if you react with the 50 moving average on the 4 hour, a lot of the time that is a reaction on the 200 moving average on the hourly. So if we react with that with the 50 moving average on the 4 hour, which I'll actually just quickly put in for you guys just to make it a bit easier for you, and then I'll just quickly redo it. Flip down. So now we can see those moving averages, and we can see that the 50 moving average is actually confluenced with those trend lines, which is brilliant. It's great to see that. And then when we go to here, when we hit, for example, this 50 moving average, what I would expect to see is price to come up to this 200 moving average on the hourly. It's just what I found, and after doing this strategy a few times, it's just what I've experienced, and it's nice to see a rejection off this 200 on the hourly, to be honest. So when we see a rejection of this 200 exponential moving average on the hourly, I would also expect the RSI to be oversold, which just gives me extra confirmation and extra confidence to enter a trade on this currency. So I hope this makes sense for you guys. I know that some of you have struggled in the past in picking currencies that may have a lot of momentum behind them, but I think any currency really that is shorting or going against or showing weakness against the New Zealand dollar right now, I think is a good currency to trade. I can see a lot of weakness in it, and I just find that the Swiss franc may see some strength in the coming week as well. So this currency does look like it's got a lot of potential. So I hope this video has made sense. If you do have any questions, please feel free to drop me a message, drop anybody a message, and we're happy to help wherever we can. But hope you have a lovely week. Have a good week trading, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Thank you. Bye bye.